Okay, I just want to give a quick overview on like what our plan is. So our whole thing that we're trying to solve for is for the economy. We're also trying to give just to slow down human rights for choosing. And lastly is like we're trying to stop trafficking, and especially on children trafficking. So you see, my opponents want to stand up here and say that legalizing prostitution won't do anything at all. That sex trafficking will get worse, that sex trafficking will get worse, and that any type of prostitution is dehumanizing. So I guess if we're gonna have to weigh the debate on like what is worse, I think we have to choose what's the less evil in this situation. Because if my opponent just stood up here and said that any type of prostitution is dehumanizing, whether it's legal or illegal, and she gave a big spiel on this whole topic, then we have to understand is like, what is the less dehumanizing factor in this situation? So the dehumanization is what we need to weigh in this debate. It's solely saying that if we leave it to the status quo, we already know what pimps do. Pimps basically traumatize these women, and force them into sex slavery, just like my opponent eloquently just said, is like, this is just slavery in a whole different conversation. We totally agree with that. But at least in the brothels, where it's gonna be regulated, where police officers can be in there, where police officers can take some sort of structure to this organization, it can be kind of like a corporate company. So basically, this actually can help out these sex workers to have their own rights, to voice their opinions, to actually do something productive with themselves. Now, the reason I want to focus so much on Bill 61, it's only because Bill 61 actually advocates for women and children that are being in the trafficking business or in prostitution, that there's different resources that need to be applied to these victims. Because how it's been approached lately, it's only been approached on such an objective point of view that no one's really paying close attention to what's the need of these victims. That's exactly what we're saying. It's like everything that our opponent kind of said on prostitution is traumatic, and it's something that it's nothing to be prideful about because they're being forced in. We totally agree. That's part of like our inherency in that. Yes, we totally agree. It is a problem. But the fact that we're advocating for brothels that are going to be licensed and are going to be regulated, and having these Bill 61 to stop the sex trafficking, it actually makes the brothels be more. It's painted more in a way that it's more acceptable. Only if we have sex trafficking and there's a big penalty that the Johns that go after these sex slaves, and that these people that work out of these prostitution brothels, it's gonna be more beneficial for the John to actually go to these brothels, have safe sex with these people, have safe sex with the sex workers, make sure that they're not gonna have no disease, because we're also going for health care, and make sure that it's gonna be in a safe environment. So not only do they have to get ripped off by the sex worker, but also not get ripped off by the pimp. They're actually going to be like, okay, it's a flat rate, and mind you, the flat rate is not that bad. The flat rate actually is going to be at a higher price where the sex worker is actually going to get a sufficient amount of money that's going to be better than working off on the street. So I would ask you to weigh this in your conscience. Is which is the less evil? Should they be dehumanized in the underworld, where the first negative said might as well just leave them in the underworld? Is like that's the best way out for them. Or should we go into the brothels where it's regulated, where the government gets involved, where we have Bill 61, where this is actually advocating for the protection of these people, for these sex workers? Is like, it's up to you. You choose what's the less evil in this debate.